What's going on, everyone? So maybe we've been looking at Colin Castleton all wrong, right? Now, we've been looking at him as the center the Lakers are growing and developing that can slot alongside Anthony Davis or maybe even be a backup in the foreseeable future. Now, I was in the camp of waiving Colin Castleton in favor of Blake Hinson, keeping Blake Hinson and bringing in Koloko because I just think, you swap one center out for another. I don't think you can get rid of Armel Traore. Again, his size, his versatility, what he showed in Summer League. Yes, he's very raw. He's a development player, but he's young enough to where you could develop him for the next 3 years, and he'd be the age of guys like Colin Castleton and all that stuff, right? And he's getting 6'9" with a 7'2" wingspan. Basically defend 1 through 5 on the floor. We saw it in Summer League, him switching out defending on guards and then switching back to the big man, right? So can't get rid of Traore. Sucks that Blake Hinson is gone. However, he probably went to the best place he could have went for him, and that's the Golden State Warriors. Rooting for him, rooting for his success. Not so much the Warriors, but Blake Hinson's individual success, right? But in general, right? You look at Colin Castleton. They decided to keep Castleton. And he's 24. He won't be 25 till May, right? So he just turned 24 a couple months ago. And, he's had basically 2 full years of development, right? And the problem that he's had is his lack of playing big, right? He's 6'10", 250, incredibly skilled. I mean, there's no doubt about how skilled he is as a basketball player. Colin Castleton can do basically everything, right? I mean, he's out there. He can make plays out of the post. His passing is insane. He is so good at catching the ball, surveying, and then making a move, whether it's making a pass, scoring the basketball, right? I mean, that is a very, very valuable trait. Now, he's not like Jokic level, but he's really good in that regard, and you could see you running your offense through him at times. He also is excellent around the rim. He can, get the ball back to the basket, go from anywhere, shoot from a little elbow, shoot from the free throw line extended, and this Summer League, he showed the ability to stretch the floor and shoot the three, and he did it well. Right? And that was something he talked about heavily, how much he's been working on his three-point shot and how he is becoming the stretch big and that he can knock down that shot. So again, he has all the tools to be a great center in this league. He just might as well be 5'10" at times rather than 6'10". He plays so incredibly soft at times. It is crazy. And my argument has been, just throw him out there. Throw him to the wolves and let him either get eaten or survive, right? Sink or swim here, buddy, right? How else is he going to adapt and evolve to the physicality unless he's thrown out there? It's not physical enough in the G League. It's not physical enough in Summer League. He can get away with being, a little passive, right, as far as the physicality goes. Can't really do that in the NBA. You're going to get punked. You're going to get pushed around, right? So does he grow or adapt? The other alternative, and it's something that I've hit on randomly through videos and talked about in live stream stuff, and I've even seen some of you down in the comment section mention the same thing, is having Colin Castleton be your power forward, your Christian Wood type player, right? Think of Christian Wood. Christian Wood is 6'8", right? I think he has a 7'2" wingspan, right? And he's a guy that he can score around the basket. He can rebound, right? He can stretch the floor, knock it down from the mid-range, all that stuff, right? Very versatile, right? 17-8 guy. But he just doesn't have the size to really bang with the big boys, right? He doesn't really have the size to bang with the big fellas, right? He's probably best suited as a 4, but on occasion can play the 5. That's kind of what, the more I think about it, the more and more I flush it out. Like I said, we've kind of talked about it in passing. I've thrown it out in passing of hey, maybe the Lakers should utilize him at the 4. But the more that I think about it, the more sense that makes to me. Having this 6'10" point forward that you can bring off the bench or start, maybe post Anthony Davis. Maybe he's plugging into that 4 spot, right? And he's now your 4 of the future, right? Especially if you get, you end up trading Rui or he walks in a couple years or whatever, right? But even him just kind of backed up. Let's say next season, because I don't think he's going to get the opportunity this season. Curious to see how much he plays this season, especially with Koloko, but to me, Christian Wood, either two things happen. Either A, he's really good and he probably goes gets more money elsewhere, or B, he's not very good, and in that case, the Lakers are probably best to just let him walk. And now you can bring in Colin Castleton as your 4 to play in that Christian Wood role. Right? Colin Castleton's a better passer and playmaker than Christian Wood. Christian Wood can make some plays, don't get me wrong, but Colin Castleton's much better, right? Surveying the floor. I really like, especially if he can continue to improve on his three-point shooting, especially if he can continue to stretch the floor, right? I think utilizing him as the 4 that can sometimes slide over and play the 5, right? Like in a pinch, Anthony Davis gets the night off, right? Let's say, next year, let's say this season we trade for Valanciunas, right? Say next year we bring in Koloko, right? So you have Anthony Davis, who's playing X amount of minutes at the 5, and then sliding over to the 4 on occasion. You got Valanciunas, who is your primary 5, and then you got Koloko as your primary, or as your third center, but really your second backup, right? Playing in spots, right? Anthony Davis, all that. I don't hate the idea of bringing in Colin Castleton and letting him be Anthony Davis's backup. And now you always have 2 sets of bigs on the floor. Always. Right? I mean, obviously, if you're playing a smaller team and it's not working, then you can make the adjustment, right? You can always have LeBron at the 4 or whatever. But you could do something where, say to start, right, you have, say, maybe it's Koloko and Anthony Davis. Or you could do LeBron and AD, or AD and LeBron, whatever, however you go. But let's fast forward a little bit. Let's fast forward a year or two to the future where LeBron James, retires, rides off into the sunset, right? You could have something where Koloko, let's say Koloko evolves and takes that next step. Well, Koloko could be your starting center. Anthony Davis could be your starting power forward. And then you could have Colin Castleton and another big. Maybe it's Valanciunas, maybe it's somebody else, right? Maybe you're bringing in, a Kyler, right? Like whatever, right? But you have that backup center. And then you have Castleton, who can be your primary 4, could be your backup 4. When Anthony Davis misses a game, boom, he can start there. If, Koloko misses a game, boom, you could bring him there, slot alongside Anthony Davis, and he's just kind of this, hey, plug me in where you need me, right? You need me in spots on the 5? Sure, I'll play the 5. You need me primarily as a 4? And then now you always have, like I said, you can always maintain 2 bigs on the floor. You can always have, a 6'10", 6'11", forward center, right, that you can dump the ball down to and he can go to work, knock it down from the elbow, stretch the floor, knock down the 3, and you just always maintain those guys. The more I think about it, the more I actually kind of like the idea of him kind of being your future 4, right? And then even post Anthony Davis, let's say he gets through this contract and he goes elsewhere or he stays with the Lakers, whatever, he just fades out, whatever, right? 3 years from now, hopefully Castleton, 1, has already been on the roster and he's been at least the backup. But then when he's ready and Anthony Davis rides off in the sunset, say he's 28, 29 at that point, boom, now he can step into the 4 spot. He's got a couple years under his belt. He's ready to take that step into the starting unit. He's good to go. Again, maybe Koloko's evolved and he's, this shot blocking double center that you slot him alongside Colin Castleton. You got 2 bigs. Castleton's better at blocking shots as the help rather than on an island. Right? One of Castleton's problem, which also goes into just his lack of physicality, but Castleton as your help defender, right, I just think would be good as well, right? Because he doesn't have to constantly be on an island and navigate that. You can have a more mobile big and like a Koloko that can do that, and then have Castleton kind of be that help, kind of be that secondary line of defense, but also stretch out, throw a hand up on the defensive side of things to the shooter in the corners and all that stuff. I really like the idea of molding Castleton into being that 4. Playing the Karl Anthony Towns role. Not saying he's going to be as good as Cat and all that stuff, but if he could play that type where you have that mobile, no, Rudy Gobert's not really mobile, but that mobile center. Ideally, you have that mobile, versatile center. In a perfect world, Koloko develops a 3-point shot as well, to where he can come out of the paint. So at times you can just dump it down to Castleton and he can just kind of go to work on the block, right? So the offense is kind of stagnant, it's not working, right? Boom, like hey, Castleton, get on the block. Boom, he's there on the block. You're dumping it down to him, and he's just going to work, right? I really do think that that's something that you can kind of mold and shape him and evolve him into, especially if he continues to work on his three-point shot. I mean, look at last year to this year. I mean, we didn't even know he could shoot threes, right? Now it's like, man, he's actually really good. Like, he actually showed a display. And, like, you're not asking him to be 50% from three-point range or 40% from three-point range, but if he could be, 37%, ideally like 38% from three as like your backup or starting four in the future, like that's huge, right? So I really like the idea of molding Castleton into year four, into that like big stretch four. And you have him slotted at times alongside AD, have him slotted at times alongside, Koloko, whomever. I really like that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Castleton kind of playing that four spot? I think like, yeah, that's where he's best at. He doesn't have to worry so much about the physicality, right? He has a bit of a size advantage at that spot. Because again, the days of the Charles Barkleys, the Tim Duncans, that's all gone. Most fours in this league are all, 6'8". They're all, Rui, Blake Hinson type guys. 6'8", just sturdy, not the twitchy athletic wings. They're just kind of like the bigger, bulkier wings, right? That shoot threes, right? Castleton, I think, would be fine in that regard. But I worry at him. Like, I could just see Castleton just getting completely eaten alive against Jokic or Zach Edey or, Embiid, these guys, right? Even like Sengun, guys like that. I think it would just be barbecue chicken. And that just would be a long day. So instead of having him have to match up to centers, again, in a pinch, he can slot in and play that role, or even at times as a backup, he can play that role. But I do like him more as like, 90-10 power forward or 80-20 power forward, right? In spots, at times he's playing the center, but he really is that Christian Wood type, where Christian Wood, again, is best at the four, but he can slot in at the five when you need it, right? Kind of like that idea. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.